let's talk about a few things not to do as a cybersecurity person or in an interview. And again, we're not so much concerned about the obvious things. Don't show up with BO, don't show up dressed poorly like a slob, don't act unprofessionally, all that kind of stuff. Again, I'm here to tell you about the IT or cybersecurity specific things about what not to do. Now, one of the things not to do, and something I really don't like to see in an interview, is don't be arrogant. Don't come across like, you're the world's best hacker or nobody could break into your system or anything like that. And that happens sometimes with people just getting into the business. There's a bit of a Dunning-Kruger effect there. You may not be as good as you think you are, especially when you're starting out and you're being interviewed by guys who have been in the business for 20 years. Don't be arrogant. Show off, but in an appropriately humble way, right? Show what you've actually done. And if that stuff is impressive, it'll speak for itself. But just don't be needlessly arrogant. Do not freak out over vulnerabilities and exploits, right? And this is more of something not to do on the job, but you need to be calm. If a major zero day comes out, then you want to explain the risk, put together a plan, and have it addressed. You can't run around with your hair on fire saying, "Oh no, shut everything down now." That's very rarely called for. You want to be calm, and you don't want to ever freak out when 0 days or serious stuff happens. And another thing is you don't ever want to let security be the department of no. And this is something I always mention in the interview. Because I've actually had interviews where they said, "Yeah, we let the last guy go because he just wasn't working out. He was just hindering the business. His security was a problem and not allowing the business to do what it needed to do." Right? You don't ever want to be the department of no. You've got to find constructive ways to handle things. And this kind of comes back to the communication skills we talked about before. You need to be able to communicate the risk in such a way they will agree with you. And you need to have a business appropriate solution to the problem. Sometimes you will say, here's the risk, this could happen, and we need to implement this security control. But the security control is going to cause people to have to, choose more secure passwords, or, have a dongle for a multi-factor authentication, have some sort of key token, or enter additional code from their key generator, their Google Authenticator, or whatever. If the business owner says, "Okay, we understand the risk, but it's not worth it to us. The loss in productivity or the expense or whatever is not worth it to us." Okay, that's the end of it. If you've appropriately explained the risk and they decide not to go for it, that's fine. Now, if they get hacked via that way, whatever it was, not your fault. You can sleep well at night. But yeah, you don't ever want to let security be the department of no. You always want to be seen as contributing to the business, wanting what is best for the company, right? Now, I'm not saying you be a sycophant or anything like that, but that needs to be your general attitude. You're there to help the company not get in the way and bring productivity to a stop through very restrictive security controls. There's always going to be some risk. Remember that. You can't ever eliminate all of the risk. Now, I found this Reddit post that I will share with you. Here's a very good post, again, in the r/cybersecurity subreddit. Worth checking out. Top 5 mistakes people trying to break into cybersecurity are making. Now, there's an associated YouTube video also. I've not actually watched that video. It says all on this post, so only YouTube if you want more info. So I'll include a link to this post in the materials, along with this course. Mistake number 1, this guy says, and I agree with all these. not networking within our community. Yes, if you want jobs, if you want interviews, if you want, opportunities, you need to network within the community. Go to your local groups, your ISACA, your CSA, your whatever. Let's see, 50% of jobs in cybersecurity are either not posted, or if they are, the winning candidate is already worked out before posting. I don't know about that, but yeah, you definitely want to network. You want to have people who you can use as references, people who can speak up for you. You want to know people who can attest that you're a good guy. You want to network within the community, right? Make some friends working in companies with security departments via, again, whatever local activities there are. And that can really help you out. Now, I'm also going to do a whole video on networking with recruiters. That is very big, but this is big also. Mistake number 2, approaching the career without aim. Yes, find something you're interested in, specialize in it, find the job you want, pull a rec, means job requirements, see where your gaps are, make an action plan that closes those gaps, that works for your timetable and resources, and execute on it. Right. So whatever technologies that the position that you want, the kind of position, the field within cybersecurity, because remember, it's a very broad area, whatever kind of technologies and skills that position requires, and they'll be laid out in the job recs for that position, those are the things you should go out and learn about. Now, the proprietary tools and things like that will be hard to get. You might have to get those via, some sort of on-the-job training. So that could be a gap until you actually get that experience. But there's a lot of other things out there. A lot of red team tools, that's almost all open source. AWS, you can learn all kinds of AWS skills. There's tons of videos out there. There are books. There are, you can just go sign up for your own AWS account and start playing with all the APIs and spinning up EC2 instances and securing VPCs. And there's a lot of stuff you can do on your own. And especially when it comes to Linux and all the open source stuff, you can do all that on your own. But yeah, find the kind of job you want, see what the requirements for that job are and the job postings, figure out where your gaps are, start filling them any way you can. Mistake number 3, not being aware of current events and threat intel. This is big. When I'm interviewing people, I always ask a question along these lines. Make sure you are keeping up on the cybersecurity news. In fact, that reminds me, I think I should probably do a whole video on cybersecurity news sources that I like to help you get started in that. I've got all kinds of stuff that I read, including this subreddit, r/cybersecurity, but I will ask you about a big vulnerability that's going on right now. It's been a few months now, but we had Log4j. What is Log4j, or Log4Shell, it is sometimes called? That's a biggie. Go read about that if you don't know what it is. Lots of sites have been broken into with that vulnerability. So you will want to keep up on the news so that when somebody asks you a question like that, you know what's going on. And that's one of the things I love about this business also. There's always something going on. There's tons of ransomware. There's 0 days. Ransomware is always exploiting them. There's always interesting stuff happening. And, sometimes I get up in the morning, I read the news, and I'm just blown away at some crazy thing that has happened. Actually right now, if somebody were to ask me a question like that, I mentioned Log4j, that was huge, but it was a few months ago. I would actually mention the attack on the Viasat satellite communications network. There's a war in Ukraine right now, and the Russians attacked everybody says it's the Russians, and it seems extremely likely, in my opinion, not to get political, but yes, the Russians seem to have attacked the Viasat satellite network, took down all the satellite terminals, thousands and thousands of satellite modems, I guess you could say, caused a big disruption in communications. That is a significant hack. My understanding is it happened via a VPN run by a third-party provider who did something related to managing Viasat's network. So you might consider that a supply chain. You might consider that a third-party risk. I don't know the details of how they actually connected to the VPN. I presume that's what they did. Maybe they stole some VPN credentials, a password, a private key, or something. Maybe there was a vulnerability in the VPN server that they were talking to. I don't know. But in cybersecurity news, that has been a big hack as of recently. Well, actually, the war has been going on for about 3 months now, and that started the day of the war. So technically, that's 3-month-old information. Well, the event happened 3 years ago, but I just learned via the news a couple days ago that it happened via the VPN. So I guess it still counts. Anyway, yeah, stay up on the news because that's a very common interview question. And then next, mistake number 4, according to this guy's list, more money invested does not equal more value obtained. These $4,000 boot camps are not a guarantee of anything. And yes, I have covered boot camps before in this class, right? You are not likely to go from 0 to hero, not knowing anything about technology, to being a cybersecurity professional in 90 days or 6 months or whatever. It doesn't matter how much money you spend on the boot camp or the degree or whatever. He says right now has never been better in our industry to get access to free or very low priced, excellent education. And that's true. There is a ton of material on YouTube, on blogs, on websites. There are very reasonably priced classes about all this technology out there. Don't fall for the trap that more expensive is better value, more detail here. Okay, so he's got YouTube videos about each of these different topics, it looks like. And again, I've not watched these videos. Oh, actually, these all link to the same video, but this looks like it links to a part of the video 602 seconds in. That is what that means there. Here, I think I'm in the way. Yeah, see where it says equals 602S. If you don't know, I definitely recommend learning how HTTP protocol and URLs work, right? Learn how arguments are passed to URLs, how the @ sign is used as an argument separator, that in a link to a YouTube video, the T equals 602S means that when you click this link, you'll join the video at 602 seconds in. That's all cool stuff to know about. And you're going to have to know about how such a major technology in our world as HTTP and URLs work as a security professional. Just a little aside there. Mistake number 5, he says, not positioning yourself as an aspiring cyber professional. So if you want to be a cyber professional or cybersecurity person, whatever, start looking the part. Yes. Fix up the LinkedIn and or start a blog. Hey, if you've got a blog that can demonstrate your writing skills, your communication skills, that always looks good. The blog can capture all the things you are doing to learn / upskill in the cyber world. That's all true. It also shows some enthusiasm, right? Some passion for what you're doing and some willingness to share the knowledge with others. It'll help you retain knowledge, illustrate your communication abilities. I just mentioned that. And when employers Google you, they may find your blog and be impressed. Yes, and he mentions Google here. That's very important. Your employers, potential employers, will Google you. Now, I'm going to have a separate section, separate video about that. But in short, make sure that you are Googleable. Make sure that what they find when they Google you is all positive and professional. I don't want to get your resume, read it, say, oh, I want to interview this guy. He might be a good fit. And then I'm going to go do some recon. I'm going to Google you, see what's out there about you. Hopefully I find your involvement in some other cybersecurity activities, maybe your blog where you're showing off that you're doing some cool stuff. Maybe find your GitHub. I don't want to find your Facebook or your Instagram where you are smoking a joint and doing keg stands with your shirt off, right? Now, what you do in your own time is your own business, but your internet-facing persona must be professional, right? You want to be a professional person who I would want to hire. And let's see. Yeah, he says, I hope this makes a positive difference in someone's life. Yeah, that's all good tips. And then at the bottom of all these Reddit posts, there is a discussion. And this can be a good place to read through also. I'm not going to go through all that. But, you know, I've shown you a couple different Reddit posts now from this cybersecurity subreddit. And that is a good thing to subscribe to. There's a lot of professional tips along these lines in there. There are a lot of newbies looking to get their career started, possibly just like you. And also cybersecurity news when big events happen. This subreddit is one of the places that I follow. Okay, that's it for now.